Go ahead, Coach.
Sure. It's good to be back with you all. I hope everybody's doing well. Feels like it's been a minute, so I'm excited to get going with spring ball. Just had a team meeting this morning with our players. They all have done a really good job. I'm proud of them. They've really had a good winter, hit the weight room extremely hard. Our staff does a remarkable job in there in developing these players physically and mentally, and the guys really look good, and they're excited to get going. So we'll be on the field tomorrow morning, and excited about that. The guys, again, have done work in the weight room, but also with some of our individual walkthroughs and workouts with our coaches. They really look good and excited to get rolling. You probably saw the addition of John Settle as our running back coach. He will be running back coach and co-special teams coordinator. He'll be coed with Coach Frank Bafano. So we have Louis Matsakis, who really coaches our coaches. He's an analyst. He's in an off-the-field role, but Louis does all of our film work and breakdowns and coaches the coaches and puts our guys in position. So between the three of them and then our guys that normally work with them will be there and continue in the role that they always have. Coach Summerall does an active job. Coach Steve Clinkscale, those guys will continue to work with it. A few other updates. I got an update this morning from Kim. Chris Oates is continuing to get better. She showed me a picture this morning and talked with her. He looks stronger. He looks like he's doing well. I continue to ask for your prayers for Chris and continue to support them with the GoFundMe in all those areas. So we appreciate that. Also like to recognize Coach John Slarman and Leanne, accepting that award on John's behalf to win the Broyles, as Assistant Coach of the Year. So, congrats to John and Leanne for that award. This spring, I'm really excited. As I mentioned to the team, it just feels like we're so much deeper than we've ever been, and I think that has a lot to do with the 6 guys coming back for their 6th year, and then the addition of 11 newcomers. So it really puts us at a pretty full roster for the spring. So that's the first time we've ever had that many. So we have 17 guys, that are really would generally not be there. So we feel like we're pretty deep and anxious to get going. So with that, I'll open it up there for questions.
Okay, questions, raise your hand. John Hale.
Mark, just what's the process going to be like for Liam kind of implementing the new offense this spring, and what do you want to see by the end of 15 practices or whatever, that side of the ball, to get out of this?
Well, there's so much, John, to install. Obviously we've had the opportunity to meet with our players and have walkthroughs, and so we've already implemented some things for them. But there's a great deal to go through. Everything is going to be new, obviously, from terminology to formations to the operation, from getting under center, different tempos, different cadences. There's a lot. There's a lot to go into it. So we really have to use these practices wisely. And the nice thing with the way our schedule is, it's taxing on our players and our coaches, but we go for 5 weeks, so we have a long time, so we spread it out. We could take our time, have really quality meetings in between our practices, and use our time wisely. So we have 5 weeks to get a lot better, and I challenged our team and our players with that this morning, that we really have to be dialed in and be more skilled overall. I mean, the scheme is fancy for media, for our team, for our players and everything, but it's still a fundamental game, and that's what you can't get away from. Obviously there's so much big picture things to get in and to get done and to install, but you also fundamentally always got to get better every time you take the field. So there's a lot to do, but it's an exciting time.
Josh Moore.
Hey, Mark, when you look at with the new offense, putting that in, but also for the defense, as you're looking, you've got a bunch of new starters. You're going to have to kind of suss out there, and seeing what they do against that offense, will that especially up front, help those guys try to get back to where they were, with the pass rush, a couple years ago?
Yeah, definitely. I think, we have an opportunity to, get better. I mean, we have some experienced guys up there, and they're. I mean, I don't know what the difference would be offensively. Defensively, they have their own, issues and things that we have to work on, and that's just normal. Every position, each guy that we take the field here this spring, has to take it upon themselves to get better each and every day. So I don't know, how to, correlate that question to the offensive installment. I mean, defensively, they just got to get better. I mean, pass rush is going to be no different. So to directly answer your question, that's, fundamentally we have to get better. The scheme's not going to, affect how they pass rush.
Dick Gabriel? Dick Gabriel.
Sorry.
Come on, Dick, take your mute button off. I mean, get with the program.
I know you wanted to hear from me.
Yeah.
You guys don't have much downtime after the season, and given everything your kids went through last year, both on and off the field, could you talk a little bit about how vital it was to get that win in the bowl game as kind of a springboard for this year?
I think it was very important. As we talked about leading up to that game and the decision and, the invite and all those things, it was really important. Again, I was very proud of our players for the investment that they made to go to the bowl game, to practice and to compete in that game to win. We came away with the victory. It definitely helped us. And some time off, as you mentioned, they needed it after the bowl game. They had an opportunity to get some time off. And then I was really encouraged with the way they came back and their attitude, to this point. I felt like we had a really strong really strong winter. Those guys have hit the weight room. They're bigger, they're stronger, and mentally, I think we're in a really good place. So I think we're all excited to get going here for spring.
Lonnie Demery.
Mark, you previously alluded to it in your opening, but about the conditioning, the development of your players. You've built up quite a reputation of being able to develop players, be it 2, 3, 4, 5 star, whatever. And I know a lot of hands go into that, from Monica Fowler all the way up to you all as coaches on the field. But talk about Coach Edmond, and Coach Ed is affectionately known, and said what sets him apart from some of the other people you work with.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Lonnie. What do we have, Susan, in the invite to the combine? 7. We had 7, which is top 10, right? So I appreciate that question. It's true. I mean, again, this year we have 7 guys invited, which is in the top 10 in the country, getting the official invite to the combine, and it says a lot about Coach Edmond. It says a lot about our whole staff, but Coach Edmond and Coach Mark Hill, the 2 lead guys in the weight room. I think what separates them is really their personality, and they're obviously very knowledgeable. But it's just like my philosophy, and Coach Ed is very disciplined and very tough, but he also has a great relationship with the players, and I think that's super important, especially in that room. Because really Coach Ed and Coach Mark Hill and that group, they see the players really more than we do. Normal years when you hit the road recruiting, you're gone for a month, at a time, sometimes, and they're the ones that are constantly with them all year round. So they have to have a good pulse of the team. They have to have the respect of the team, and they also have to, have the discipline when necessary. So it takes some talented people to run that room. And, so I'm very grateful for those 2 and all the guys in our weight room.
Kent Spencer.
Yeah, Mark, obviously, you guys had to really kind of tighten things up, during the summer and during the season, and maybe you loosened things up a little bit with your players after the season so they could kind of have some time to breathe. How much do you kind of have to tighten things back up going into spring ball, making sure that you guys can get through?
Well, I think, we've been working on that with our players. You are correct, and we've talked about it the past 2 or 3 weeks about continuing to stay disciplined and make sacrifices. So I feel like the guys have. Yes, I think there's a tendency when they have a little more free time to get a little looser and socially start to do some things. So we've talked about it, we've addressed it, and overall we still have very good control of this situation here. I guess as much as you can as far as the COVID related issues and things of that nature. So the guys seem like they're doing a very good job.
John Clay?
Mark, are there any 1 or 2 positions that you're going to pay special attention to looking for development this spring?
I think it's fair to say that the wide receiver position is always a position that we feel like we have to continue to grow, and obviously the quarterback position is always important. On the defensive side of the ball, we're thin at linebacker, but also I feel like we have quite a few bodies, but we need to take another step on the defensive line as well.
Justin Rowland?
Yeah, on the defensive line, I was going to ask specifically about the turnover there with Hoskins and Looney and Mahone and Bohanna gone. You've got some guys returning, but think back to a year ago when you signed that class of Rogers, Hayes, Ribka, Octavius and Anele missed spring practice a year ago. They were deprived of that. How high should expectations be for that really heralded group from a year ago?
Well, I'm really not worried about the expectations. I am worried about day to day. Each of those players, challenging themselves to get better each and every day. I think they all have a very good work ethic. I think they're very talented. Talking about the defensive line in general, you look at Marquand, and to this point, I'm really excited with the way Marquand has come back. And just his attitude and what he's done this winter academically, what he's doing in the weight room. I really like his mindset right now, and if he continues to grow, he has an opportunity to be an impact guy, and just want to encourage him to stay consistent with what he's doing because he's off to a really good start. And then you got Josh Paschal, who kind of leads the whole team, with his mindset and his leadership, his dedication to his teammates and this program. Josh is a special player and has an opportunity to be a really impactful, defensive player here this year. And then you got Octavius, you got Isaiah Gibson, Justin Rogers, Trayvon Ribka, Sam Anali, all those guys, Josiah Hayes, all talented guys that need, individually just need to concentrate on themselves and just get better day by day. There's no magic formula. You just got to go out and work every day and get better. It's a fundamental game. The closer you get to the line of scrimmage, the more fundamental it becomes. So offensive line, defensive line, it's really a technique game. So those guys really have to hone in on their craft and what they're doing and pay attention and fundamentally get better each day.
Nick Roush?
Mark, when we talked to you at the end of the season, there was a lot of talk about moving forward, pushing the program forward. You made those moves. What does pushing the program forward look like over the next 15 spring practices?
Just getting better. I mean, again, there's no magic formula. There's no magic wand. It takes a plan, but it also takes dedication on a lot of people's part, so we all have to do our part and just get better day by day. I'm really excited. I've mentioned that. I've said it before. I think I feel really good about where we're at, but we have to put in the time. We have to put in the work, and it's day by day. You can't get out ahead of yourself. I know that's boring to talk about, but it's so true. We're in there right now. We've started the morning, and it's the same way tomorrow. We're up and at it early and really excited about attacking each day and getting better. It's a fun time for me personally. It's a fun time for our program, I think, because I'm excited about just getting better and putting a good team out there next year. But we have a lot of work to do today.
With all the new changes, is it kind of like a tryout for all the guys now that they're getting to play for these coaches for the first time?
It definitely is. It definitely is. There are some things that are different, philosophy-wise, schematically, and so it's wide open. I mean, you have to go out and prove it every day. I mean, obviously we have some guys that we feel really good about that have proved themselves for a long time, and we expect them to be a really good player no matter what system they're in. But there's also a bunch of guys that we're looking at that need to take it to another level.
Jeff Drummond?
Yeah, Mark, you mentioned the quarterbacks a little bit. I'm sure you're going to field quite a few questions on them these next few weeks. Is there any kind of plan going into this with how those reps will be divided and what you'll be looking for out of those guys?
Yeah, we're looking forward to those guys, getting better just like all the other guys. So I'm not going to get into that and tip my hand and do all those things. I mean, that. You know what I'm going to say. It's a competition, just like every other position out there. So, we'll see how it moves forward.
Derek Terry?
Mark, what were some of the things that stood out to you about John Settle and I guess just kind of what made him be the guy for the running back room?
Yeah. Susan, is John going to come on here? I think John's going to step on here afterwards and talk with you all a little bit. But John, I mean, just look at his resume, and where he's been and the places he's coached, and then visiting with him and talking with him. He was kind of a no-brainer for me, to be honest with you. He's a guy that comes from a great program in Wisconsin, 2 different stays there, has NFL experience, just his personality, his background, his work ethic, the knowledge that he has. I think what I liked about John was not only is he a great running back coach. You could look at the running backs at Wisconsin and look at the running backs at Kentucky and feel pretty good about it over the last 4, 5, 6 years. So John's done a remarkable job at Wisconsin and other places he's been, but also big picture. A guy with quite a bit of experience that can help with big picture, help with special teams with the co-title. And, so he brings an awful lot of experience and stability to that room.
John Long?
Hey, Mark. Coach Cohen has been making the rounds on all the radio shows and media outlets. And to be honest with you, I think he's been wowing everybody with his expertise and knowledge and personality. What advice did you give him, or what advice would you like to give him about dealing with the local media?
I didn't give him really any advice about that, and and really don't feel the need to. You're the first person that's mentioned it. That tells you where my head is at, John. I really, no offense to anybody or anything, but I have no clue what goes on. Outside of people come to me when I need to know something. Outside of that, I don't know what's going on, or don't listen to it, don't know. So as long as usually it's no news is good news for me, whether it's my players or staff or anything. So you're the first person that's brought it to my attention. I have no clue what he's done and not done, but I just know him personally, and I know our staff, personally, and the way they handle themselves and who they are. And you don't get to these positions with not being able to handle yourself. That doesn't mean any of us are perfect. We all know we're not. We're going to make mistakes. But I don't worry about that with Liam or John, who's going to come up here next, or any of our guys. I really don't. I think I'm not that type of a control freak.
I'm happy to report that so far so good. But
well, thank you.
Things can change.
That's right. Always can.
Okay, guys, we got time for a couple more, so we'll do Josh Moore and then John Hale, and then we'll get Coach Settle up here to answer questions as well. Josh, go ahead.
Mark, I know for all the transfers, it's something of a second chance, but for Luke in particular, I would think that's something that he's pretty excited about, and clear. I would think for you to want to bring him in, you feel pretty good about where that can go. Just kind of can you maybe walk us through how that happened? I know there's a connection there.
Yeah, I've known Luke since his high school days, playing at my alma mater there, Cardinal Mooney. But Luke is a big, strong linebacker, and we had a need, with Jamin declaring early, and what happened with Chris, we went from a great strength there to being a little bit, low on numbers. And so I think it was an opportunity for each of us. So so I'm excited about seeing what he can do. So, we've only seen him in the weight room and out there doing some conditioning. So, but he's a big, strong guy, smart guy, and he's working extremely hard. So we'll see how it goes this spring.
John Hale?
Mark, just what are your expectations for Wandale Robinson now that you finally have him on campus this spring? I know there was a lot of talk of what he could do in Liam's offense, but what does that look like now?
Well, we will see, John. I'm very excited about it. Obviously, you don't need to watch much film or watch Wandale very long to see how talented he is. I think what's been great for me to see is reaffirming my thoughts on him as he's a guy that's extremely dedicated also. He's not only talented, but he's very dedicated. He works really hard, and he's committed to it. And that excites me, because you want that to spread to other guys, and you always want to bring guys into the program that are going to, affect people in a positive way. And so I like what I've seen. Just his movements, we're not allowed to have a football to this point, but just his movements and the way he explodes, you could see how fluid he is, and you could feel his presence, the way he accelerates and puts pressure on a defense. So that's not hard to see, and so I think that will come, and we'll go through this spring, and he'll get better and better. But you could watch his film and watch him on TV from a year ago, and you see the talent, you see the explosiveness, but it's also good to see the mindset that he has and the commitment level that he has.